Hi, it's Niamh from the Rainbow Cauldron, and this is an update video. Here we go. Okay, I have a few things on a list of all the stuff that's happened over the last several months, of stuff that I want to just discuss and talk about in my video. All right, so here we go. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was the whole fiasco with selling our house in California. And that was such a pain in the ass. I can't even, I can't even, you know. It was, we went through three buyers, and then finally the fourth one stuck. And it was just, one thing after another on why this buyer, that buyer, why it wouldn't go through, and it was just disappointment after disappointment, and it was pretty frustrating. The first two buyers couldn't get um, their financing in order. The third buyer was actually an investor. He was going to he was offering much less on our house, and in order to flip it. So we didn't want to have to go with him because he was, because it was so low of an offer. And but after the first two buyers fell through, we were trying to take whatever we could get, and at the time he was the only person we could get. And the reason why that whole situation fell through is because he turned out to be a complete jerk, and like days before closing, demanded that we reduce the cost by like $30,000 or he was walking. And that was like, no way, are you kidding me? So we said no, we'll just find someone else. And so, but that was like completely out of the blue after we had already committed to this. So that fell through, and thankfully we found another buyer not long after that. I think it was only like a day or two after that fell through that we had our fourth buyer, and it was a couple tens of $1,000s less than what we had initially put our house on the market for, but it was more than what the investor was offering. So, we counted our blessings, went with that, and that was the one that actually went through. So finally, we sold our house. Actually, we closed on our house the day we got to New Hampshire. So, woo, that's done with. Okay. So the next thing on my list is the road trip. So, during our whole road trip, we were still hoping that the fourth buyer was going to go through, because that happened less than a week before we were going on the road trip. So the road trip, we drove from Southern California, because that's where we were living. We were living in San Diego County, and we drove all the way up to Oregon to visit my husband's side of the family and some of my friends from high school who had moved up to that area. So we got to hang out with them for 5 days, and that was really fun. Lots of fun things to do. And then from there, we drove all the way to Kansas, which looks weird because I think I'm mirroring here, but I'm sure it's opposite on the video. But we drove from Oregon to Kansas, Kansas to Oregon, I think. This way. No, this way. But we drove from Kansas to Oregon to spend another 5 days with my dad's side of the family, and that was great. I got to see my dad and my aunts and uncles, and my aunt and uncles, our aunt and uncle, and my grandparents, and that was really fun. And my kids got to meet a lot of that side of the family that they hadn't met yet. I mean, my son was the only one who had ever been to Kansas, and he was a baby. So he got to meet all sorts of family members that he wouldn't have remembered. And my daughters got to meet them as well. So that was really great. And then from there, we drove from Kansas to Michigan to spend 2 days with my mom's side of the family. And that was, it was only 2 days because it was kind of a last minute decision to put that into our road trip. Um, when we were making the road trip, anyway, like it had been decided well before we went on the road trip. But when we were making the road trip, we were pretty set on Oregon, Kansas, and then New Hampshire. And I was like, well, how close are we going to get to Michigan on that drive from Kansas to New Hampshire? And we were like very close. And I hadn't seen them in a really long time, my mom's side of the family. So we decided to squeeze in Michigan there. So it was only 2 days, but I got to see a lot of family that I haven't seen in. Uh, I don't think I've seen them since I was in high school. So well for over 10 years. So um, yeah, so like more like 12 years, something like that. Anyway, so that was really great. And then we from Michigan, we drove to New Hampshire and finally made it to our new home. And which brings me to the third topic of discussion on my list is the house we're living in New Hampshire, and the activities we've been doing since we've been living here. And so we're living in a place that we're renting right now. We're going to be renting for the first year until we could find a home to buy. We wanted to buy right away when we got out here, but circumstances with selling our house and a few other circumstances, it made it so that we had to wait. And we found a place to rent, but of course you gotta, you know, sign a contract to stay for a year. So now we're staying in this house for a year until we can buy our own house. And we've been really looking and doing house hunting, things like that. But some of the activities we've been doing since we've been living here, I've been hit with a creative streak, and I've really been doing a lot of crafty things, like working on my book Shadows, working on my own book, which I have a video of in one of my blogs, one of the Crafty Project blogs. I've been working on that, and I've been making a couple books, and I've been painting again. So, oh, and let me actually grab the book. I made this book. Seamus. My son. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the book that I made a little art, I guess you could say sketchbook, just a general art book, but it's filled with watercolor paper. So it's more of a watercolor book, but I've also been doing other things in it. And this is the book. You can't really see in this light. It's nighttime here, so I made this whole cover here. I did all the artwork on it, and then here's the back, and I did the artwork on there, including painting the background. I don't know if you can tell. And then on the inside, I've done a few paintings in here. I've also done some artwork elsewhere, but I did this watercolor here. It's a really poor lighting, but you get the gist. There's something there, and this was like 5 different paintings before it became this, and it was. Yeah, I started out doing something, and then I messed it up, and so I painted over it with acrylics, and then I just, I was doing one thing, and it kind of melded into something else, and it turned into this flower, and I also used some oil pastels to finish it off. So yeah, there we go. And I've been doing a lot of flowers. I don't know why. I just have. Here's another flower that I did. It's a watercolor. Hard to see in this lighting, but this one's actually quite nice if it's the right night lighting. This one, it's kind of meh. It's a butterfly flying above a forest. It was just, just doodling, having fun. And this one was pretty cool, this tree that I did. Very cool. But yeah, so that's it in here. And I've been drawing and doing a lot of stuff. I've just been like really hit with a creative bug. I went to school for art, college for art, and then I changed my major to business because I don't know, I hate being told what to paint or draw or how to be creative. So it was like I found art school very frustrating, and so I changed my major to business, and I just did painting and artwork as a hobby. Maybe someday selling, but I don't know. That never really came to be. But I found all sorts of other crafty avenues that I put my artistry through, But anyway, so I've been doing a lot of artwork and creative stuff, and I guess I've been hit with a creative bug. And the other activity we've been doing is exercising and getting healthy. Yeah, so when we were living in the hotel and traveling across the country, it was kind of a life of sitting around doing nothing and eating not so well, to put it mildly. Like we just weren't eating very well during that time, or staying active. It was kind of hard to stay active, being cooped up into a hotel with 3 kids and a cat, and for 2.5 months, and it just yeah, and then 3 weeks of being on the road, where of course we're not really eating all that healthy because we're eating on the road. And we tried to pack healthier snacks, but really we just weren't eating very well during that whole thing. And during that time, I had gained like 15 pounds, and I'm a really short woman. I'm 4'11", so 15 pounds really showed on me, and I think I knew that I was gaining weight, and I wasn't feeling good about that. And I think and I couldn't wait to get to New Hampshire to have my treadmill back so I could start exercising again and being more fit. But I didn't think it was so bad until there was a picture of myself that I saw from on the road trip, and I looked so different. It wasn't me, it wasn't me. I mean, if that's how I've always looked, it wouldn't be such a big deal. But I've never, it was so not what I've ever looked like, and it was just shocking, and I just didn't really look healthy overall. And so when we got our treadmill back, I was super excited about that. And I started running every day, and I started meditating, getting spiritually healthy as well. Waking up fairly early in the morning, trying to get up at around 6 because that's when we have to get my son up for school. But lately, I've been getting up around 7. My husband gets my son up. He gets our son up, but. So I've been waking up around 7:30, and the first thing I do, if the rest of the kids aren't up, and I go downstairs and I sit in front of my altar in the ritual room, and I just take a couple minutes to meditate, usually with a chakra meditation, and just really try to balance things out, try to open chakras, try to breathe. And yeah, just really relax and prepare myself for the day, And then around my daughter's first quiet time, we have quiet time instead of naps, but and we keep quiet time with each of our kids, even though they've gotten older, because I really think it helps not only them to have some alone time where they're playing alone and being quiet in their rooms, but it also gives us a quiet time so that we have our times to do whatever. And my youngest, since she's 2, she takes 2 quiet times. And her first one is at around 10:30. So when she goes down for quiet time, um, I I get ready to go run on my treadmill, and I run about between 1 to 2 miles. And after that, my husband and I have started doing the Body Beast program. So we've been really working hard on that, and we've only just incorporated the Body Beast program, and we're like on day 4, something like that. So it's been pretty grueling, and we've been sore for days, but um, I'm glad we're doing it. And you know, even though we're in pain and we're sore, and every once in a while it's really tough to do because we're so sore from the day before. It's it's been okay. Um, and after that, I go upstairs and I kind of have a cool down where I not meditate, but I do yoga, and that's been really nice. I've been doing the running and yoga part for like 3 weeks now, and the Body Peace program was just added in. But I've been doing the running and yoga for about 3 weeks now, and I think that's really helped me, you know, relax and open up. But anyway, doing all this in the time we have lived here, which is just over a month, like a month and a week, um, less than a week, a month and a little less than a week, and I've already lost 10 pounds. So I'm feeling pretty good. So, and I'm seeing it in me too. I don't look like that picture that I saw of myself on the road trip, and I'm already feeling like better about myself. I'm feeling healthier, both physically and spiritually. I'm just feeling a lot better. And a spiritual aspect of that sort of is that I've also been reading a lot about Ayurveda, which is kind of like Indian or even Hindu herbalism and general health, more Indian. It's not specifically Hindu, but that of course fits into my spirituality, because I incorporate Hinduism into my spirituality. But also, I just feel like I find a lot of it to be very fascinating and interesting, and I feel like there's merit to it. And even outside of a spiritual outlook, um, I'm not, looking to be super strict about it, but I've been adding a few techniques to my daily routine, certain drinks that I'll have or something like that. And I've already, we've been doing a lot of herbalism anyway, so it's kind of been incorporating into that. Um, and I got a couple Ayurvedic cookbooks that I'm sure my husband will enjoy making some of the recipes from there, because he's the cook in our family. I'm not so good at cooking. He's the cook. Um, and we already eat a lot of Indian food, so that's not much of an adjustment for us. So and then we'll see where it goes from there. Whether I want to become more strict about it or not, take it slow. That's really how I'm feeling about it. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was my ritual room and the Temple of Witchcraft. Okay, so with my ritual room, our house has a great space for a ritual area. I hope we have something similar in the house that we'll eventually buy, but yeah, so it's got a really great space for a ritual area. So it's been really fun setting that up and getting all of my herbalism stuff in there. And I have a video going through our ritual room. Check out the description. And yeah, I've added a few things since that video was made. Like I have an herb rack in there now to dry herbs, which isn't in the video. But yeah, so it's really cool having a ritual space now. We kind of had a makeshift one in our house in San Diego. And so the Temple of Witchcraft, that's out here in New Hampshire, and it's run by Christopher Penczak, the pagan author. And I went to my first Temple of Witchcraft event in August. It was, I went to the Feast of Hecate, and it was very cool. I really enjoyed it. I went alone instead of taking my family, specifically my son, who really wanted to go, so that I could get a feel for what the events were like. I definitely think it, now that I've gone to it, I definitely think that it would be okay if I brought my son to the future semi-public events. So I'm planning on taking my son to the next event on Mabon, and the only problem with that is that I don't drive. There's two things that I can't do: cooking and driving. And I mean, I'm a better cook than I am a driver, but I can't drive. And so my husband has to drop us off, like he did when I went to the first event. Then he goes home and would have to put our kids to bed. And if we go to the one on Mabon, he'd be putting our daughters to bed, and then wake them up again to come get us because the events are from about 7 to 10, somewhere around there. So it's, obviously my 2 and 4-year-old are asleep by that time, so he'll have to wake them up to come get us. And that's, for the last event, I asked a total stranger there for a ride home, and which was totally rude of me, because I don't know these people and I'm asking them for a ride. I just I didn't want my husband to have to wake up our kids to come get me, though I'm sure the women who gave me a ride were really great and wonderful about it. They were really fantastic. Though I'm sure that they also thought it was strange for a complete stranger to ask them for a ride. But they were visiting from across the country. They're also from California, so they won't be at the next event. So, and if I'm gonna bring my son with me, I can't ask for a ride because he's still young enough that he rides in a booster seat. So, and, only for a couple more months, and then I think he's out of the booster seat. But anyway, that, and I just, it was just kind of rude of me to ask a complete stranger for a ride. So I don't even know what we're going to do about that. Where was it going? But anyway, I'm definitely planning on becoming a more active member of the Temple of Witchcraft. Okay, so the last thing that I want to discuss has to do with my business, the reading, daily and weekly readings. Okay, so an update on that. This past week, I did a weekly reading, plus the daily readings for all 7 days of the week. So that's 8 videos. And that takes a lot of time. Especially if I have 3 kids and other responsibilities and other things I'm doing and other aspects of the business that I'm doing, because I've also put on video readings on my Etsy again, so those are available again. So adding in all of that, it's been really difficult to keep up with daily readings. Weekly readings are not so bad because it's just 1 video. But daily readings, that's 7 videos, so it's been kind of difficult keeping up on that. And I'm really in fact, I've decided that this next week, tomorrow I'm going to make a weekly video, and that's going to be it for next week. But I will shortly after that be making weekly videos for the next couple weeks. I really just want to get caught up with the daily readings thing. Because I'm so backed up with it. I can't do it where it's right before the week before it happens, because then I'm rushing and to get these videos out, and I just don't have the time to do that. And so I'm hoping that if I do a couple of just weekly videos for the next few weeks, that'll give me time to get caught up with some daily readings from the weeks after that. But I'm also thinking that I'm going to see how it goes with the weekly readings, because if I just get too overwhelmed with the daily readings, I might be cutting those out, at least for the time being, and or to be announced sort of a thing, because it's, well, we'll see how it goes. So I just wanted to mention that so that people didn't wonder what happened to the daily readings. And as I said, if it turns out over time that I just can't keep up with the daily readings, then I'll stick with the weekly readings and the full moon reading, which I'm also planning on doing this weekend, hopefully. But for the weekly readings, I may, if I decide to cut out daily readings altogether, I may kind of create a different spread for the weekly readings, maybe with a few more cards, and just kind of work it around, and that way it's a little more comprehensive. So okay, so oh my goodness, 27 minutes counting. So this has been a really long video. So thank you for bearing with me and listening to my update and all the things that I've been up to, and why it's taking so long to do the weekly and daily readings and all of that. So thank you so much for watching, and watch the weekly reading that I'll be doing tomorrow, and I'll probably be uploading that later that day. So thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.